go lower, and that's why your grind goes. And you fit it in, the grind goes until it's a stable occlusion, right? You will actually have a lot to do if it is that it won't properly process, properly set up, and properly laboratory remounted, because you could end up with a whole set of errors, right? And then you might have to equilibrate the denture and make sure you have a contact on every single tooth before you even start doing buccal upper and go lower. Because the patient might bite down and 3 teeth might be in contact, and then the rest ain't touching as much or whatever it is.
It will be like your doctor, and you have some errors under it.
Right. So if it is that you have that situation arising, right? If it is that you have that situation arising, right? So I have a rock, the first to begin, but then that's snug, right? You can see that as compared to the other one. You hear it, yeah? You will look to see, well, it's not as snug yet after the back here, right? So the patient, this is an immediate denture, and now the gums start shrinking so that you have a little bit of loose space at the back here. I need to reline the denture to get a better fit. Alright, I check to see what's going on. It's high in occlusion here. I have an open bite on that side. Only one tooth touching on this side here. So if that's the situation with this, what I have to do, when I check those contact points, I need to take the acrylic board in hand and grind all those down until it actually starts to meet on every single tooth. And then start doing buccal upper lingual lower. If the errors are gross errors and I have major open bites, right, I probably need to clinically remount the denture. Frankly, I don't do clinical remounts, because if I have to do a clinical remount, something wrong somewhere along the line before I reach to that stage. I should simply be able to take the denture up and do a simple try and put in and do minor adjustments. So I send it back and I ask the lab do a laboratory remount, which is why they need to preserve these and preserve the position. I ask them to do a laboratory remount and check back to make sure what the contacts are and adjust it there and then send it back to me. If it's a serious discrepancy, I take a wax bite and send it back to them and say, this is how it's articulated, mount according to this bite and see what's the situation. And then they're able to sell. And usually what you're trying to, something like that has occurred, there was an error that occurred during your jaw registration and face board transfer part of your denture fabrication process. You did the jaw reg wrong, and you got the wrong bite, and you did the wrong face board transfer. You're going to end up with a serious issue when you come to your final delivery and your teeth in wax. Your teeth in wax and your final delivery. You might get away at the teeth in wax stage still because it's wax, and when you get that initial bite, the wax might settle a little bit, and it'll look like it's coming together, but acrylic ain't gonna settle. So when you get that stage, hey, the bite is still open or whatever it is. So you need to look carefully and see all of those things, right? And adjust the occlusion down until all the teeth are touching. And when the teeth are touching right around, then you go ahead and you adjust buccal upper lingual lower. Having done that, you ask the patient, what I'd like for you to do is to speak with this on, please. Fish, church, judge, Mississippi. She sells seashells at the seashore. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dogs. Chelsea sells cheesecake at the Chesapeake. Take up newspaper and read. A lot of them are going to tell you, just sit down on the this is what you're not supposed to do. This is like pure finish, and it's a different kind of processor than that. It's done less freehand, and there's no compression of this when it's processed. This is just done freehand and set into the yeah, the light cure one was just done freehand and set up, and that's why I ended up with all those possible errors, because it wasn't compressed into position. It's just set up and hand articulated, set up and hand articulated until you get it. This is processed in the flask, and there should be no expansion taking place, as is this. So you try that into the patient and you go through all those things, and then you ask them, speak, right? They might tell you, I feel no more feeling like it's full. Well, why do you feel like it's full? Because you have more stuff in it, you have more teeth. Yeah, as I told you guys, one of the patients tell me about, he say, I'm feeling like I have teeth. Well, duh, I feel like that. You know? They tell you they feel like the palate is feeling like it's full. If they tell you they have problems swallowing because you ask them to sip some water and swallow, what do you think is happening? You've crossed the vibrating line and you need to come and you need to find that spot and adjust that, right? You look to see what's going on with that. You tell them, what I usually tell them is, all I'm going to adjust now is anything that's pinching you, and I'm going to make sure you have a good bite. So you bite down, we check to see where there's any pressure, any excessive pressure, we adjust those areas, and I'm sending you home with the denture for 1 week. You go home with the denture for 1 week, and function with it. Don't eat things you're not supposed to. Take care of it as we teach you, right? And let us see you in a week's time. In a week's time, if there's any excessive areas of pressure, you'll probably see a little ulceration starting on the gums, or they'll tell you, doc, it's pinching here about it, cutting man, that, and I use my little warm salt water, clean up all of it, but there's, so you adjust those areas of the denture. Adjust until you get a comfortable fit, and then send the patient home. 21 days, I'm not seeing you for that time. 21 days is the length of time it takes to form a habit. If you want to start smoking, smoke straight for 21 days. If you want to stop, try to stop for 21 days. You should be able to form a habit. Wear the denture for 21 days without having to do any kind of major adjustments. Function with it properly, and you will find that any errors or issues that are present after that period are real issues for the patient. Right? And that's where you make major adjustments or other adjustments if you really need to do it. You don't do it before that period. I don't do it before that period. I've found that patients adapt, and when they can't adapt, that's where you step in. 21 days. So it's first 1 week and then it's 21 days. So after a month, they've gotten the denture delivered and adjusted. Right? And that's how that would go. And that is for this acrylic denture. What do you think you need to ask the patient to practice before you send them out the door? Well, you can't get them to brush the denture in front of you. Removal and insertion. Because if the patient can actually take off and put on the denture, it makes no sense. Where are they supposed to hold? They're supposed to hold the teeth and pull off the denture? No. They're supposed to look at the mirror and get their thumbs or their fingers onto the clasp, and they adjust on the clasp itself and tease the denture out of position. Right? And they're supposed to just put it in and bite down? No, they're supposed to figure out what is the proper path to getting it in. Right? And snapping it into position according to the path of incision. Okay? That's what they're supposed to do. If they actually do that when they go home, that's their business. That's what they're supposed to do. So that is the delivery of the acrylic type denture. For the chrome denture, when you get it back, look to see that it is properly bonded to the chrome. No sort of sharp areas, right? No areas that are too thin, no voids. Okay? You're looking for all of that. No acrylic on the guide planes, no acrylic on the rest seats. Why? Acrylic on the rest seats is going to affect the occlusion or going to affect the denture from sitting all the way down. Acrylic on the guide plane is going to prevent it from being inserted properly. Right? Remember your path of insertion that you selected, come across the patient, do the whole intro that we did before. Right? And you're going to sit the denture into position. Making sure it's fully secured. Check to see, again, cross bites and everything like that. Check to see your occlusion. Right? Have them sit up. Fish Church, Judge, Mississippi, she says seashore at the seashore, Chelsea says please we can test it. Put one off down to the dogs, sing a song from it, read a piece from a newspaper. Get accustomed to the feel of it. Where is pinching, where is bothering you? Adjust those. Is it too tight? Is it too slack? If clasps need to be adjusted, you do not just grab pliers and start tweaking out. Right? Clasps on these dentures usually just require that. A little finger pressure, and they adjust it into position, because anything more than that and you would find that you actually start to strain the clasp and you could fracture the clasp. Clasps on these dentures, the same thing. Tell the patients all you need to do is hold it in your hand carefully and just tap it like that. Don't bend it, because I see patients come back in and they wire all over the occlusal surface because they're real bend it, or they break off the clasp because they bend. You know going on? Just tap it lightly with your fingers or bring it back from me and I will adjust it. The same thing with you. Just a light finger pressure and it sits nicely. Right? And that's it. It's totally no occlusion. Right? Patient might tell you, you find that you like put down a little bit short. Well, you ask for it short. You don't know what to do. I was telling you, should I get back along like everything? You say, no, you are custom with your little space and you wear it back. Right? You want something sorted of that, you can send back to lab, you can find out you do slice on the edge for your name, whatever it is. You know? Whatever it is you want, we could do. Right? But you're checking at this stage, you're checking for your occlusion, you're checking to see that the patient is not in pain and is functioning comfortable. And then you review it after a week's time, and then you review it after 21 days, and then it goes 3 months, 6 months, a year. And then yearly after. And when you're reviewing for chrome dentures and acrylic partials, don't just look at the denture when you're doing your review. Take the denture out and look at the teeth to see if they're trapping plaque and these kind of things. And put a book on them if they are. Because they're supposed to be maintained properly, else they're going to develop cavities and they're going to lose teeth and they're going to lose the denture. Alright? Have them practice getting it on and up. You don't hold the teeth and pull out the plate. They're going to pull out the teeth one of these days. Right? You don't put it into position, right, and bite. You're going to knock teeth off, or you're going to break teeth, or you're going to damage the abutment. You put the denture into position as it is supposed to be, and then lightly tap to ensure that it is giving you the bite that it's supposed to. Look in a mirror when you're doing it. That is what you're telling the patient. Right? Adjustments, as I say, is it an acrylic burr if you need to, and then you could polish it lightly with a little bit of polishing paste, basically. I use Softlex this and Vaseline if I have any major adjustments, but I very rarely reach a stage where I have a lot of adjustments on the biting surfaces also, because you do all the stages and you should eliminate any sources of errors. Right? Any questions there? Everybody can answer. That's a major statement. Good. You have the video for the processing and that kind of thing, right? The only thing is, well, you show them already separation with the teeth.
Try to open the flask before they
try to open the flask in 2 minutes. Alright. So you actually try to boil it out and open it before you guys go, so you can see what is going on. Hopefully it'll go out as it's supposed to. Right? That technically brings you to the end of everything that you needed to do in this course, technically. We still have one little topic to touch on.